A lot of you guys have been requesting that I share more lucid dreaming stories with you guys, so today that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share a story that happened about 2 weeks ago. It was an interesting lucid dream because it shed some light on something to do with dream stability for me, so let's get right into the story. Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me Matt here, and today we're talking lucid dream stories. I'm sharing another one with you guys, and I am going to need my phone for this, or I've got the dream written down because it was about 2 weeks ago. I was originally intending to record this video right after the night that I had it, but I had a bunch of different videos I wanted to record then, so I didn't get around to it, and this got put on the back burner. So now I'm recording it, but obviously my memory of it is a bit fuzzy, so I'm going to be reading bits from my actual dream journal. So yeah, I started off in a school field, and particularly this looked a lot like my primary school. If you're from the US, you might not know what primary school is. Basically, primary school is the first school that you go to in England. I'm not even sure if it is that way anymore because they've changed all the schools around and stuff since I was going to school. But basically, when I was going to primary school, it was like you go there from like 4, I think it's 4 you start, until you're about 8 or 9 years old, something like that. So it's the first school that you go to, so I was obviously very, very young when I went there. But I appeared in what looked like the field from that school, and as soon as I got in, I started to lose stability. Things started to destabilize around me, things started to get very, very unclear, and immediately I knew the dream was about to end. So I did something that I normally do, which is I touch objects to try to get it not to end. But the thing is, if you actually paid attention to my videos before, you know that for me, stabilization is a bit difficult. When I was doing nightly meditation every night, then my dreams remained relatively stable without me trying. But when I'm not doing that, stability is my #1 issue with lucid dreaming, and it's the thing that I struggle most with because most of the traditional methods of stabilizing dreams don't actually work for me anymore. They used to work when I first started, and they don't anymore. For one, rubbing my hands together, that used to work amazing. When I did that, the dream would instantly become crystal clear, and you know, if it started destabilizing again, I could do it again and it would just stay stable the whole time. Now that is not the case. If I rub my hands together in a lucid dream, it pretty much does nothing. So I did try to touch something. I tried to touch the grass, and that's something that I usually try, but that is usually not very effective. But I had a different idea. So not too long ago, I was sitting with a friend out in a park somewhere, well, not really a park, it was just kind of out in nature. We're just sitting chatting, and I kind of have this habit when I'm sitting in the grass where like I will just like pull out chunks of grass and just like play with them in my fingers. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. I don't know why I do it, it's just kind of force of habit. So I was doing that when I was with my friend not too long ago, and in the dream I kind of had this idea, why don't I, rather than just touching the grass or running my hands through it like I usually do, why don't I actually do that, like pull up chunks of grass and play with them in my hands. I don't know why I thought this would be a good idea, but it turned out that it actually was. So as I've written here, what I did was sit down, pick up large handfuls of grass and play with them in my hands. I kept doing this, and I noticed that as long as my focus remained on the grass and not on the stability of the dream, my dream actually did remain stable. Now, a few times when I was doing this, it did start to destabilize. So what I would do is I would basically just stop what I'm doing, sit down, and then just play with the grass. I noticed that, you know, if I was trying to do things too quickly, then the grass didn't really help enough. But if I was, you know, slow and I would regularly pause, sit down, take a break, then playing with the grass was actually enough to keep the dream stable. And what I think it was, by the way, was, you know, I was playing with these bits of grass, and I was really feeling it, like I was breaking it apart in my hands, I was, you know, tearing apart the bits of grass. And so I was feeling it more than if I was just running my hands through the grass. It was very close to a realistic sensation. Because that's the thing, in lucid dreams, sometimes your sense of touch and all of your senses are a little bit muted. Like, yes, it feels like you're touching a brick wall when you run your hands along a brick wall in a dream, but it doesn't feel as, you know, tangible as a real brick wall. It's almost like you're feeling it partially, but not 100%, if that makes sense. That's how it is for me anyway. Sometimes, you know, when clarity is really, really high in a dream and stability is really, really high, it does feel like 100% real. But most of the time it's, say, like 80%, you know, or even sometimes a little bit lower. So when you just run your fingers through the grass or something like that, then you kind of get the sense of touching it and so on, but it's not a very, very strong sensation. So I think by tearing apart bits of grass, I was actually, you know, inducing this much stronger sensation, which was helping keep the dream more stable. So eventually I decided that I was actually going to go exploring. And I thought, why not actually go into the school itself? And I walked up, and I don't remember how exactly this happened, because I don't remember the transition. I don't remember the actual walking into the school. I just remember I was walking towards the school, and then I remember I was in a classroom. So I don't know how that happened, and it didn't really resemble my primary school, I don't think, unless I just don't remember what my primary school was like. I do remember when I was walking closer to the school that there were definitely people out there, students, but it was weird because, like, you know, I was like 8 or whatever when I was at this school, you know, between 4 and 8 or whatever. And like everyone was dressed like students, but I didn't feel like they were kids. Like I felt like they were people my age, but they looked like they were young at the same time. I don't really know how to explain it. It was kind of weird. So anyway, I got in this classroom, and there was a teacher in there, and they were like lecturing to the class. They didn't seem to notice the fact that I just randomly walked in. They didn't seem to care about that. There were kids all talking in there, and when I say kids, I mean like the ones I saw in the playground, like outside the field. Basically people my age, but that looked like kids, if that makes sense. And so we're in the classroom, and I'm just kind of looking around what everyone's doing. And after a while, I just kind of thought, like, I don't really want to go and explore the school further, because I know it's just going to be kids and teachers, and there's not really going to be anything interesting there. And I didn't want to change the location, do something drastic like that, because I just managed to keep it stable, and I had a feeling this would be a longer dream if I was able to keep that up. So I thought, instead, I'm just going to go along with the dream, and I'm just going to explore. So I left the classroom once again, and I headed out. And I remember walking through the field again, and this time I ended up at this place that looked a little bit like a dock. Like there was there was water, and there was an actual dock. And as I got to the dock, I was joined by some old friends from school. Now these were old friends that I knew from a different school, but they were there in that school, and they were wearing the uniform of the school that I was actually at there. But they were all friends I actually made friends with later in life, in high school, I think. They were there. In fact, I think there were some friends like that I'd met after school as well there, but all in this school uniform. And I was just chatting with them. Like, I knew it was a dream, but I just kind of wanted to go along with it. So I just chatted with them. I wanted to see what they had to say and so on. And we were just making small talk. And we were walking along, and one of them points out that in the water, there are beer bottles that look like they have beer in them. Except they're open. And so I'm like, why would you ever like drink from an open beer bottle that's like sitting in some like dirty looking water? Like you don't know what someone's done to that. And my friend was like, yeah, I suppose, okay, I'm not going to take that. But then I noticed there was an empty beer bottle sitting on the floor of the dock, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to show off my lucid dream powers to some dream characters here. I just thought it would be kind of fun. So I pick up the empty beer bottle, and I cover it up with my hands, and then I turn to my friends and I go, look, watch this, and I move my hands away, and it's a full beer bottle. Basically, I imagined that was going to happen when I did that. And then I noticed that there was a slight problem though, because it was a full beer bottle, but it now had the cap on it. So I was like, oh damn, what have I done now? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try something different, and then I just tried tapping it on the top, and I just imagined that when I tapped it, the cap would just come off. And I tapped it a few times, it wasn't working, and then the cap just kind of like didn't really come off, but it was like hanging off slightly, and so I just was able to take it off at that point. And so I thought, okay, this is interesting, let's see what beer tastes like in a lucid dream. Now I have drank beer before in lucid dreams, I've drank other alcohol in lucid dreams and other regular drinks, I've tasted food in lucid dreams and so on. But I find that anything like this, whether it's a food or a drink, when you taste it in a lucid dream, sometimes it tastes like it really does, other times it tastes nothing like it, other times it tastes like you're just drinking air. So it's really interesting to taste things in lucid dreams, and so I decided I would do that. So I started drinking the beer, and it kind of tasted slightly beer-like, but it was not really what beer tastes like. It was quite nice, actually. It was probably nicer than most beer is. And so I'm drinking it, and just walking along, and we decided to turn around and go back. And we walked back through the field. It was a kind of odd scene, because I'm like walking through a field in a school uniform, like 7-year-old me, except I don't look 7, drinking a beer as I'm going through like my primary school field. And then we went inside the school again, and we're back in that classroom. And I remember thinking, like, okay, I know this is a dream, but I'm curious how the teacher's going to react to me drinking a beer in the classroom. And so I just walked through, just drinking the beer. The teacher didn't seem to notice, didn't even seem to acknowledge the fact I was even in the room. And then class ended, everyone came out, and so I decided to actually explore the school at this point. So I start walking towards the door of the school, and I just had this thought, wow, this dream has actually lasted pretty long, because I would say at this point it was probably, I don't know, maybe close to 10 minutes actually. You know, I was doing everything fairly slowly. And so I was like, this has been quite long. And I didn't need to do that much stabilising. In fact, that was the other thing. I noticed that when I was drinking the beer, that actually helped stabilise the dream a lot as well. The sense of taste is very interesting in lucid dreams and works really well for that. So that's something I have to experiment with again. Basically just taste anything, you know, even if it's just, you know, some rocks on the ground or something. I'm definitely going to try that. And anyway, yeah, I was like, well, it's lasted really long. And because I thought that, I was like, oh no, it might lose stability. And sure enough, right as I thought that, it started losing stability. Like, it was when I forgot about the fact that it could destabilise, it seemed to remain relatively stable. And then the moment that I remembered, oh, it could destabilise, it destabilised, and the dream ended. But it was one of my longer lucid dreams that I've had recently. I haven't had that many long ones recently, they're mostly short ones. So that was nice. But also the main reason that I liked this dream and wanted to talk about it was because it was one of those dreams where I discovered something. I discovered that, you know, the increased sensation of touch from actually breaking apart bits of grass in my hand worked a lot better than just touching things. I also discovered that taste is really, really good for that for me. I have noticed that before, but I always seem to keep forgetting it and then, you know, not remembering to taste objects. So yeah, that's been my dream story. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Now, if you want to have your own dream stories like this, if you're wanting to learn how to lucid dream, or you just want to learn some more advanced techniques and so on, I actually have a 14-part lucid dreaming audio course, which I'll put a link to up there. You can find out more information. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more, and check out my Patreon page if you're interested in supporting the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to keep watching, pick one of the 2 videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you soon. Take care.